B-Boys Underground, episode number 75 starts now, y'all. We've got the one and only Ives Irie from Delinquent Habits in the house, y'all. This is going to be a dope episode. Let's get into it. First up, we got to start with a video. This one right here, well, West, y'all. California, featuring Sen Dog.
From California.
Checking in from the left coast where we take sound that combines sunshine with rhyme, move 'em around. Take it slow, watch the smoke we blow. Bring California swing and this thing for show. Well, hey there, baby doll, dance the go-go. Off a little mentally, I see it in slow-mo. Hollywood, the east side, hub city and Frisco. Calles at the playas, fires up in the disco. Whoa, whoa, oh, now here we go. Mira, delincuentes, bum rush the show. Aquí in Cali, where trees so sweet, and these habits is feeling Irie on this rugby beat. And on summer nights, we use our feet, keeping in mind the danger walking on these LA streets. So what eyes that reflect is the waves inshore. Through the smoke of the green, you seen burn next door. And the birds sing, but they don't tell the truth no more. And the night's hot, so you just better lock your door.
California.
Days is hot, nights get hotter. Fathers better watch your daughters.
From California.
Days get longer, nights get shorter. Remember the police got quotas.
From California.
City of angels, here even angels watch the angles. Living in
California.
showing nothing but love, bringing peace till the push turns shove.
Now you can bury me on the back, El California. Right beside Cactus Plant, damn right, Sparks gon' roll.
I'll be the pasta with the palm ass green from the left coast. Sunny soul side, I here living fresco. All is good from the ready and the secco. But illin', I'm dropping that left, bro. Southgate, California, what it's all about. Homies from the hill is who I'm shouting out. We all OGs, veteranos. Putting record for a jingle of their rhinos. And it don't ease up or slow down. Still getting money when we come around. You know what's up, we delinquente. 25 years I've been familiar with these gente. Check me out on the new LP. Tequila shot and the jet fuel trees. Rag top down on the 63. Glock 17 in the ocean breeze.
Days is hot, nights get hotter. Fathers better watch your daughters.
From California.
Days get longer, nights get shorter. Remember the police got quotas.
From California.
City of angels, here even angels watch the angles. Living in
California.
showing nothing but love, bringing peace till the push turns shove. These days the seashore see a little bit more, but I still love Bodea reflection plus more. I love breeze, long laugh, palm trees, guitar chords, old blues, rig out two, click clack, a skateboard. What's that making me feel this hardcore from the land with the hip hop that y'all gon' start for? Bob your head so hard, wreck your core for. I like money, but your love and respect is for.
Así lo es, su califa, te aplacan a prisa. Saliendo de la barra o saliendo de misa. Put 'em down, no frown, deja ver la sonrisa. No beef in the party, but I'm killing the pista. From the underground, so I'm turning the milpa. Reignite the whole scene, cause I'm bringing the chispa. Been around the world, pero aquí me lo rifa. Deeply rooted right here, tú sabes, en Califa.
Days is hot, nights get hotter. Fathers better watch your daughters.
From California.
Days get longer, nights get shorter. Remember the police got quotas.
From California.
City of angels, here even angels watch the angles. Living in
California.
showing nothing but love, bringing peace till the push turns shove.
California. From California. From California. From California.
I was muted. Things happen. I was vibing out to that video, California, y'all. Tonight is gonna be a special night. Man, we've got someone from the Cypress Hill family tree that is someone that I've been listening to since they've came out. And also Mad Ways is in the house. He's been listening to them since they came out, man. This is going to be a dope ass interview. Looking forward to it, man. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite plant, grab your favorite liquid. If you're new here, hit that like, follow, subscribe, all notification bell. Don't forget that we do this every single Wednesday. Yes, every single Wednesday live. If you want to be able to ask questions with our guests, pull up live, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. to be more Pacific, and everywhere else all across the globe. Tune in right here, B-Boys Underground. Be able to ask the newest and upcoming artists, the next big things, questions, and also established acts and artists. It's time. First up, we got the one and only, my brother from another, all the way in the left coast. Mad motherfucking ways. What's goody, Bluebeard? How are you, sir?
Hey, what's good, Boogie? Hey, man, what up? What up, B-boys? How we doing?
Man, so good to see you, fam. And
Excited for this show, bro. Fucking excited,
woo,
man.
me too. Look, and here's the thing, man. We got Gorilla Strong in the house, right? He's in the chat. This
Salute, Gorilla
episode,
Strong.
this episode would not be possible if it was not for Gorilla Strong, because Gorilla Strong was the one that reached out and 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 uh and set this up for us, man.
Hell
And
yeah.
and Gorilla Strong, I really do appreciate everything that you continue to do to be a part of the community, to support and everything like that. This is huge. Much love to you. Hats off.
Big
Flowers to
love.
you, family.
Big love.
Big love.
78, baby. Let's go.
And man, it's time, man. Let's get into it, man. We got Ives Irie in the house. What's goody, fam? How are you?
Yo, what's up, fellas? How you doing tonight?
Man,
Big ups.
chilling, doing really good now that you're here, fam.
Hey, thank you, brother.
Man.
Thank you for the honor of being here. I want to give some shout out too to I know him as my brother David, but Gorilla Strong. Yeah, we've been hitting back and forth for many years on this, and giving each other support in those times of need, and also giving props when we have some good stuff going on. You know what I mean? So
Hell
hats
yeah.
off to him for sure. You know.
Gorilla Strong is a good dude, man. He's definitely someone that looks out for people and tries to be a positive force and everything like that. He loves music. He's a fan of music like I'm a fan of music, and that's the thing that's always been interesting, and the fact that I love having this podcast with everyone that comes on it, because we all love having dope ass conversations about hip hop. I mean,
Yeah.
regardless of our differences, regardless of how people look, regardless of all of these little things that we put up as humans to divide us, right? The
Right.
one thing that we all can have a commonality with, and I find, is the commonality of music. Someone,
Yep.
it's very rare that you don't find someone that doesn't appreciate music on some form of level, because it's vibration, it's tone, it's everything.
I mean,
The vibes.
music is the power that runs everything. You know, you don't have a barbecue, you don't even have a funeral without music. You know what I mean? So you
Church,
take it as it is. It just depends on what vibe you want to roll with, and how you want to treat or be treated. You know what I mean?
hell yeah, bro. So, like, getting into music, and we're gonna start it off. We always start the question off with this one. The very first question is, you know,
Number one.
when you think about music
Right.
and you think about hip hop, I want you to take us
Yep.
back to the time with your very first memory that you have associated with hip hop. Take me to the room. What's playing? What's smelling? Who's there? What's the vibe? What goes?
Well, the first time I heard like a hip hop verse,
Hmm.
I believe was I don't know, I don't know if it was Young MC, but there was this on a station. It was way back in the day, like on AM radio, way back in LA. Even before that, there was this one that nobody would ever say they listened to it because it wasn't like the cool station. But there was a station called the Mighty 690, and it was on AM, and they would rock just every kind of music. And there was a song by a young dude, and the song was "I'm Only Nine." And that was like, and I was only like 14 or something. So when I heard it, I sort of like vibed on it, and then I bought the vinyl from Run DMC, Raising Hell, and it was all over with then, you know. Then I got into the Beasties, and then, I mean, it's pretty much the smell for me was, you know, my mom's Italian, so most of the time I was smelling some kind of pasta going on or something like that, whatever we could afford at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Dope.
Cheese and sauce.
Yeah, that's it,
Great.
brother. So, you know, but it was, I kind of fell in love with it right away. And I was sort of a writer before then anyway. I was, you know, like a young kid just writing little nursery rhymes or limericks or whatever you'd call them before hip hop was even really a mainstream thing or even a thing at all. So I think my first memories was of just searching for any hip hop that I could find. You know, the Fat Boys, LL Cool J, when he hit the scene was like a phenom, you know. That was before he licked his lips all the time and rhymed about women, you know what I mean?
Oh
He
my
was in a
God. Yeah.
he was in a B-boy suit just pushing his way
Oh,
into Russell
beast.
Simmons' office saying, "Let me let you hear me," you know?
Box.
Yeah. So it was just you know, same old. I was kind of there when it was at its inception, and it was sort of like I was the only white boy in my whole school, only person in my whole school really, because it was back then, dude. You know, you had your neighborhoods, and it wasn't so set, it wasn't so like integrated as it is now, you know. So I kind of got a lot of shit for it, you know, but it was what I liked, and you know, I wasn't the pushover. So if anybody had a problem with it, they could get it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You know, I wanted to ask, you know, growing up in East LA, how did your environment shape your identity and your voice as far as you as an artist? And because I know in the environment where I grew up in, and you know, that shaped who I was, and even to this day, it's like this is
Yeah,
me.
I mean, I was always growing up with Latinos, bro. I wasn't in sort of like a barrio or nothing like that, but my school was right near a city called Bell Gardens and Southgate, of course. So a lot of people were getting bused back in the day to where they came from Southgate over, or they came from Bell Gardens, or even deeper in LA. So we had a lot of people that brought different cultures, and I was sort of the kid that, you know, the new kid in school. I would always make a friend. I didn't care what color they were, didn't care where they were from. I was just ready to have a good time and make people feel sort of, I guess, at home, you know, because I kind of knew what it was like to always feel sort of, you know, out of place in my own skin, you know?
Now, what role did like bilingualism and like culture play into your life before music?
I mean, before music, I was in, you know, hanging out a lot in Norwalk, Downey area. And then as I got deeper into music, I met these cats. One cat named Chill, he was a DJ and he started rapping. An old buddy named Rich, and we were kind of just doing our thing. And we sort of spoke in, you know, it was like Latins, whites, and black people in our area. So all the, it was sort of a mixed vocab. You know, you'll have some white surfer dude or some white dude like me who hung out with more Chicanos and people of different races. And then you had other dudes that were like, you know, party on, bro, you know, stuff like that, you know, and you never really judged anybody for who they were. It just, I wasn't that
Right.
dude, you know.
Yeah. You just want to get along and like just
I
let's
can't
do
say I
that.
always wanted to get along with everybody because I definitely found my fair share of squabs, and but at the same time, you know, I was growing and I had my own issues. You know,
Right.
I maybe had a few identity issues to where I felt maybe like I didn't belong a lot of places. So the way that I got myself in was smashing in the door rather than knocking. You know, if that makes sense.
Yes, it
Oh, I
does.
do. Yes, it does. I think we all had
I,
to deal with that at
I
some
kind of
point in
like, there's
time.
a lot of my past that I'm probably ashamed of the way I act. And if there's anybody out there looking or hears this later on and they see Ives, the guy that kind of stepped on their toes or something, I hope that you can give me a little pass on that and, you know, judge me for who I am now, you know?
Yes, sir. Bygones be bygones.
There you go, brother.
Amen. 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 You know, like what would you say is the biggest lesson you learned, you know, from just that whole being in a situation where you were a minority per se, right? Where, you know, you're looked at in whole as, oh, well, you know, you're a white guy, right? And
Well,
you're
let me correct you right
so
quick. if somebody just said, "Hey, that white guy," it's cool. But most people tend to think it's okay to call a grown man a white boy.
True that.
Um,
Yeah.
to where, it's so accepted and it's okay. I don't
Yeah.
take offense to it too much because I understand where most people come from. They're either joking and some people are like, fuck that white boy. Why is that white boy here? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm a white man, the same as a black dude doesn't want to be called black boy, same as a Mexican dude don't want to be called Mexican boy or Chinese boy or whatever. Nobody wants to be put down like that. So,
Yeah.
um, I always kind of had a little chip on my shoulder. And I'll say in hip hop, to further, like, say, maybe answer a question that wasn't asked, there's a lot of racism in hip hop. Same as the racism that's in every part of society because,
For sure.
if someone's insecure about what they're doing, they're going to want to hold on to it and keep tight because they don't want to have to adapt and evolve with new cultures, new people coming into your music. It's the same as rock and roll. When Chuck Berry picked up a guitar and
Yeah.
started, Johnny Be Good and all these songs that all the white people in the whole country were dancing to, a lot of the white musicians that were up there tripped out. Same as when Elvis started, singing and mimicking Muddy Waters. They're like, who's this white boy trying to sing this type of music? Everybody gets a little bit offended if they think
Led
that,
Zeppelin, Rolling Stones,
yeah, all of
Beatles,
them.
like all of them. All of the
Yeah, so
classic 70s rock bands were all blues inspired.
yeah, bro. So the thing is everybody sort of, there's an old phrase that a buddy of mine named Smiley used, and he said, good artists borrow and great artists steal. And that's usually what it is. And the steal word is kind of a misnomer. What I mean by that is, it's kind of the biggest sign of respect when someone mimics you. Mimicry is a very big form of flattery. And when someone is trying to be like you or do something like you're doing, and they make a little change to it, you shouldn't be that guy that's like, "Hey, what, you copying me?" You should be like somebody saying, "Hey, well, that person liked what I was doing so much that it influenced what they're doing." And that means that you're leaving sort of a little more of a mark than, your songs or a big chain hanging off your neck or gold teeth or whatever the hell it is these days. You're passing something on to the next generation of people doing what you did and struggled at what you were doing in the beginning as well.
Hmm. Hell yeah.
So,
So my question to you in regards to that, and you think about it, like, what do you think about the whole conversation in regards to culture vultures, right? Because that was a big thing, especially like in the 2020s, you started to really, really see it. And there was a lot of gatekeeping, especially in 2023 when the whole 50th anniversary was going on, and like not
yeah.
everybody got their flowers. Like, what was your whole get down? I mean, because did you have an opportunity to be a part of any 50th celebration at all?
I mean, in Europe, bro, in Europe, they're very, very accepting. In European countries, it's really not about your color of skin; it's more about your country of origin.
Yeah.
And and so I really didn't feel too included in any of the 50th, but I never expected to. You know what I mean? It seems like hip hop. If you have a certain skin color in hip hop, your credit card automatically has a higher limit. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Um, but if you sit there and you get bitter over something like that, you're sort of kind of out of the whole loop of conversation anyway, because it's really not about what other artists think about you. Because most of the time, like, they're either going to like you or not like you, but they're not the ones buying your records. They're not the ones filling your shows. They're not the ones that are really asking you, "Hey, make me feel better today when I press play on this CD." They're not the
Yeah.
ones that are following your everyday work or whatever you're trying to do. And they're not the ones in the crowd, listening to you. Because with us, bro, when we get on stage, we don't just do the music. We're in between talking to people. I'm trying to look into everybody's eyes, see what the mood is, see what they need to hear, and hopefully I find a link between us and them. Because as I was telling you before the show, we're not one of them bands that was able to stick with the label and get all the promo and get all the money. We had to do it, scratching through the dirt, grinding, and we did it independent. And like I told you, we've kept this sort of 30 to 35% angle upwards. We never really hit a peak yet, and we never really go down. We just keep steady climbing and struggling and getting what we can. And we make a living doing something we like. For some reason,
Yeah.
people think that if you're a hip hop artist and you're not a multimillionaire, you're a failure. But if you're a banker and you make 100K a year, you're doing, you're a boss or something. And if you can do the same thing doing something you love, we may not be meeting people's expectations of limousine, gold teeth, and 100 hoes around us, but we're definitely doing music and changing lives and enriching ourselves at the same time.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what was it that made you want to start picking up the pen and making the progression as the artist, like, and making it, like
Truth,
when I, yeah,
truth was growing up sleeping on the floor in a hallway, not having a bedroom and eating spaghetti with garlic and oil and every once in a while you get that tomato sauce, and if there's meat in the tomato sauce, you felt even better about it. But the thing is, bro, as you grow up a certain kind of way, you feel certain emotions. My father was a real good man, but he was a hard man. He went to Korea, came back. He was a gunny sergeant. Then he was a cop for 30 years. So, he mostly let his emotions go through his hands. So you had these certain ways where you just kind of keep quiet and stay out of the zone of the blast. And the way I did it was getting a pencil and a piece of paper and writing poetry and writing things that made me feel like, okay, I'm saying what I feel. It's out of my chest. It's on this paper. And then, like I said, when I heard that very first song, when I heard Run DMC and Beastie Boys and the Fat Boys and Crush Groove the movie, that had a big hit on me. Also, what's the other one? Breakin' and all these guys with, they're let with Boogaloo Shrimp and
yeah,
Ozone and Crazy Legs and all these guys. It was just more of a way to escape. And I never really figured, hey, someday 30 years from now, you're going to be talking about a 27-year career.
yeah. I mean, it is crazy to think, how fast time flies too, right? In
Yep.
life, like you just get busy in life and work on projects, and it's just like on to the next, on to the next. Like, have you ever like found yourself, or let me ask this because I know this, because the answer's got to be yes. How long did it take you before you were able to stop and like appreciate the moment, like throughout your career, and you were like, you know what I mean? Like, how long did it take? Because you got that go, 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 and and once you guys
Yeah.
had that,
I think I always was so deep into the struggle, I never realized where we were at. We were sort of hand to mouth with everything. And I really think that the first time that I was able to really absorb it and really say, wow, you've done something is when this one kid, he wrote, and I used to be married to a Swiss girl in Switzerland, and she would do my social media for me. And a guy wrote, and he's like, I just have to meet Ives. I got something to tell him. And I said, hey, we got a show in Zurich. Why don't you come meet us? So he came backstage after the show, and I'm sort of exhausted, hot and sweaty. He did this whole big old spiel on the stage, and he comes to me and he's got tears in his eyes, and he says, hey, man, I was fixing to kill myself. And I says, yeah. I says, you don't want to do that, And he says, no, I didn't and I don't. And he goes, because the last time I could remember being happy was when your record first came out. He said, so I decided that I was going to listen to that record and then I was going to take myself out. And he goes, about halfway through the record, I had so many fond memories of friends and people and things I've done listening to this music that I realized that I just forgot what happiness was. And he goes, I finished the album. He goes, I cried all the tears I could cry. And then I got up and I'm here today showing you my face. So when I realized that, money and jewels and cars and houses and all these other things, aren't always the best measure of success or the lack thereof. When you can truly have somebody tell you that your music and the vibe that you gave them saved their life, this is something that made me really look and say, you know what? Maybe this music is for more than just myself and my own enrichment. Maybe people really do need it. And when I realized how important and special the music is to some people and how much you can touch them, I think that was one of my greatest reflections.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that is huge to I mean, music has brought me through a lot of dark times, and there's been a lot of times where, you know, like I have never been to the point where like, oh, I'm just gonna do it right,
Right.
through this journey. But I was always one who never understood and was like how selfish that was because I've had to deal with it and witness it and the
Yeah.
fallout of experiencing that, right? And it's like a very selfish thing in a way when you're someone that's personally invested in someone and they do that, right?
Well, I
And it
think it's
hurts.
selfish for some reason, but I also know how hard some people can suffer and
Well,
how
that's what I was getting ready to say,
yeah.
Wes, is I now through this journey, like there's no way I could ever do it because of, my beautiful family and the family that I have here online and all of that connections and stuff like that. But I have appreciation for it now because I know what it's like to be at rock bottom and be at low and having to make a decision where it's like, yeah, this is real easy to go ahead and go to sleep and not wake up or
Yep.
just, do something really rash and just get it over with or whatever. And I know we're talking about dark subjects and trigger warnings, but this is kind of also what we wanted to talk about today is mental health in regards
Yeah.
to men need to be able to be more open and especially hip hop
Yes,
more than
sir.
general. You guys need to stop putting on those screw faces like what was it? Cat Williams had that joke. He's like, you can't be banging at breakfast.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, and here's the thing too, is like, you know, most struggles that people have, they look to find a way out of them. And what I found out in a lot of hip hop, especially, is that it seems like if you're not to the masses embraced in some struggle, or especially to the artist, you know, if you found a place of peace and happiness to where you're still doing music and you're changing things up, then all of a sudden, oh, you sold out, you're soft, you're this, you're that. And I think as long as you stay true to your message, where you're at the time, you can't just put yourself in this mold. And every time you're on a record, you're talking about shootings and stealing cars and banging girls and whatever else it is, because people's lives change along with you. And if you can't be
Yes.
honest with your people and yourself, that's where the mental illness just compounds itself.
Hmm.
Me, I was speaking with you before as we were talking about this, and I've
Yes,
suffered
sir.
with one form of depression or another since I was probably 8 years old. And
Hmm.
I know there's a lot of other people out there the same. And as I said before, it doesn't take a person who is I don't even know how to politically correctly say it, but someone who's just you don't want to say like it doesn't take a pussy to be depressed. It takes a person that actually sees what's going on around them, absorbs a world that they might not see as perfect, and then their brain gets sort of confused along the way somewhere on how to figure it out or make heads or tails of a situation that no one could really live through without having some sort of feeling about it. You know what I mean? And I think the weed, I think the alcohol, I think the fentanyl, all the stuff that's out there today is all people. I think maybe 5% is people really loving the feeling of it, because after the first few doses, you ain't feeling the same anyway. I think most people are just trying to escape having to deal with what they've seen because they can't figure it out.
True.
So, you know how that is, bro.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
man.
Facts.
look, I always challenge you and anyone out there that's going through things. Look, the hardest work. There's a couple of things I've been, and it's funny that you mentioned too, because like with depression and you find when you place your value in other things, right? And you put your self-worth into other things and you project your self-worth onto other people and their acceptance and not being able to be you and
Yep,
stand on you and be at peace with you, right?
that's very
And
wise.
as long as you're not doing any harm, right? You're not doing any harm. That's then do you, man. Like, and if you're odd, be odd, man. Like, who gives a shit?
Yep,
Like, you know what I mean? Be you, be real. Cause no, like we always say it, but like one of my favorite songs is by Slave or Steve Arrington. Nobody can be you but you, and that
yeah,
is I sing that to myself all the time, especially like when I'm out there and like I might be uncomfortable because like I might be normally I'm reserved, right? But I've
right.
gotta be, not reserved on here because it'd be boring as shit, right? But like nobody can be you but you. So that's just like I'm gonna be me. So that is what it is. But I mean, guys, gals, everybody, like take therapy seriously. You got to do the work. You got to put. It's called shadow work, and it's not no spooky shit or anything like that. It's the work that you do on yourself, inside yourself. When
Right.
you're inside, you got to talk kindly to yourself because if you're like me, I was motivated like you think about it like this, right? You mentioned, being a minority in the hip hop community, right? And having to prove your worth and prove your stripes and knowing that man, if you fuck up in any shape, form, or fashion or play yourself or anything or not, like it's just gonna be the air gonna be on your
Well,
head that much that
bro.
much harder. So you just gotta bring it. You got that attitude. You're like,
Yeah,
I am going to. So I developed like this thick skin, and like my mentor was just like, go, just
yeah.
hit them, and it's like,
Well,
okay, let's
who
fuck
who
it.
made it? Who made it to the point, like especially in hip hop, right? Who made it to where? I mean, I didn't have the situation, but what pops to mind a lot is the 8 Mile movie with Eminem, where they're doing the battle scene, and he's talking about, well, Clarence came from this nice area, and Clarence had real good parents, and
Yeah,
when did it become law in hip hop that if you had a good life, you still ain't got something relevant to say? And I think what it is the powers that be, the labels and stuff. I once had a guy at a label tell me, he goes, "We can't pay you too much because if you're doing too good, you ain't gonna do good music." And I
say
think
that
what
again.
it,
So hold on, whoa, say that again. Was this an A&R? Was this
yeah, it was
like?
an A&R guy, and he
So
said,
what did
"Hey,
he say? He was breaking down. He said that he said what?
he said, you guys, if we pay you guys too much as artists at the beginning or any time, he says, we like to keep you poor and broke so that the struggle is real in you and you're getting out real music. Well, music comes from the heart no matter what your life condition is. And if you're a writer and you're somebody good, you're going to find something to write about that you hope is relevant to other people. You know, and I believe like there's so many ways to twist people around, and the biggest form of power in any area of life to me is control. And like you were saying earlier, you said, you can't let other people be the parameter, their opinion be the parameter on how you judge yourself. And if that's how you're doing it, you can fall victim to either a person who's trying to control and manipulate you, or you
Yes.
could find a real good friend. But unfortunately, there's a lot more manipulators out there looking to do that than to really befriend you. One of your guys on the chat, Midget Mike or somebody, he said,
Shout out
life
to
is
Midget Mike.
hard. Yeah, yeah, life is hard for sure, but it's meant for that. Life is the things that come up that come in your life, and you pass that test. You pass that test, you're gonna have another one and another one and another one. And if you can go through the hard things in life without becoming hard in the heart, that's the biggest victory I think you'll ever find. Because then you have that balance to where you can give advice having been gone through bad things, but you still don't have the bad held in your heart that you spread to others. Because what goes in comes out, you know?
Hmm.
Word.
It's trauma is stored in the body as energy, and you have to physically do that work to get that energy out. When you
Exactly.
experience trauma and you got shit that you've put in you and like stuffed and like, ate and like just suppressed, that shit you're gonna blow.
And also, you know, too, when you're trying to meet friends, like who says that you have to be knowing somebody for 2 years, 2 months, 5 weeks? Well, what is the time that you have to take in order to see somebody that you're sympathetic to and they're
Yeah,
sympathetic to you and you become a friend? You and I,
yeah,
we spoke 20, 30 minutes before the show, never spoke before
yeah,
today. And, you know, I could say we could be real good friends because we're on the same
yeah,
wavelength. We have the same respect to hear each other out. And if there's a disagreement, I'm sure we could talk about it like men. And I don't mean
Word.
fist
absolutely.
to fist, I mean face to face. And,
Right.
I hope he doesn't mind me telling you, but, you know, Gorilla Strong, the way that I really met him is because he was always following our posts. And I pay attention to who's in there.
Yeah,
And I saw him put up a post and I could just feel that he was down. So I said,
yeah,
hey, you know, homie, I don't know you, you don't know me, but if you need somebody to talk, I'm here. And I hope that, you know, God blesses you with more clarity and a fulfilled heart after the situation you go through. And then since then, bro, we've been there for each other. So who knows and who can be the person that writes the rule book on who's your friend, how you become a friend, who you can have back. It's all control from people who don't have security in themselves and
yeah,
believe that they have to pull in the people they love and shut down any outsiders from coming in. That's the whole gang mentality. If they're not with us, they're against us. I don't believe that.
yeah.
For reals.
So, anyway, Dr. Phil over here, right?
Nah, man, but no, I mean, but that's kind of like how this whole streaming community and like what we have started and created and like continued to foster and even go back and grab and try to grow, with b-boys and all of that and the usual suspect sesh. And it was just all of that was just wanting to build community, and it was um, wanting to build camaraderie that I experienced with the group of guys that were with b-boys and like the that time period and that camaraderie
Well,
and having that movement. So I mean,
it's
like
like this,
having a
bro.
group.
Like Bluebeard. Hey, when was your happiest time of your life?
Hmm.
Man, just a couple years ago, bro.
Okay. Now,
I
was it a fresh new time to where you experienced something new, or was it something that you had a fond memory of the past and you were able to sort of reproduce that feeling? Which one was it?
for me, well, I fucking pretty much died and came back, so it was coming back. I mean,
And you
coming
came back
back.
more grateful, right?
Yes, sir. To my
So
family.
that's like I used to always, when my kids were young, I used to always try to reproduce Christmas as I remembered the best Christmas I ever had when I was a little kid, which my mom really didn't have much, and my dad, but they always tried to make Christmas special. And I
Yeah,
got stuck in this trap of trying to reproduce something that I remembered as very special to me, rather than allowing something to occur that is new and special to us, meaning me and my children. And
yeah,
when you do that, you're always stuck in this sort of expectation of finding what you used to have rather than finding so called new glory or new grace, new feelings. And if you can get past that thing of always trying to recreate the past, you know, you can actually have a future and a present that is new and enriching in another way. And instead of building on one experience, you're building on multiple. And it gives you way more power in your heart, you know?
Uh,
yeah. It's this gratitude, right? When you get to a point, and I want to say, Breeze News, thank you so much for the follow.
hell yeah,
I'm
what
I'm
up?
grateful
Word
for
up.
you following. But like being able to get to a spot where you gotta be able to start to experience gratitude, but that in itself means that you've got to do a lot of self healing because, a lot of times when folks have trauma, they're dealing with things where they're judging themselves internally and will
But
not
you also
give
have to know what to
themselves
be
any
grateful for.
grace. Yeah,
How do we know
yeah.
what to be grateful for when society's always putting new expectations on you? Every year a new iPhone, every year a fancier watch, every year a fancier car. What about a better heart? What about learning
Yeah,
something? What about being able to do something for others? That's not what society teaches. And when we get
no.
stuck in that point you made before, always looking at what the next man thinks of you, you're giving way too much power to people to form your life when you have your own path to make. You know what I mean?
That and also when you think about material, right? So you think about like love is gonna get you. I mean, Chuck or Chaos One said it
Yes.
best. But
Yeah. Great
material
song.
love, you think about I love my watch, I love my, and it gets they own you. I mean, so you get lorded over by have to make your house payments and pay your debts and all of these things, and you start worrying and having fear and living in fear of
100%.
losing things that you have acquired, especially
And at
if you've
that point,
come from
bro,
the
you're
gutter.
living
Yeah,
your life, and you could say this. Do you? And I think it was Brother Ali had it in one of his songs, and he says, I don't live a life where the things I own me."
yeah,
If you have something that's so expensive, you can have the fanciest car, the fanciest house, but are you going to have to work all through Saturday, have Sunday only off to where you're so tired you can't even spend it with your kids? You only drive that said car to work and back. You don't even get to
yeah,
go impress the chicks you want to impress with the watches you're buying and all this other shit because you're so damn tired and working for the things that own you. You don't own them.
yes,
That's
yes.
the whole thing, and I thought that was a very wise line. And when I heard that line in that song, actually, I'll say, even though Brother Ali probably wouldn't even want to have a bite to eat with me because I'm a white guy, but the thing is, I had a lot of learning from that line, and that got me out of the point of thinking about I need a Rolex or I need a fancy ride or I need this. Actually, what I needed to do was regress and say what made me happy. Well, fishing made me happy. Shooting made me happy. Hanging out with my kids, busting freestyle raps with people I don't know. Just enjoying the everyday life of meeting a new person, having a cool interaction, and then walking on. Rather than
Yeah,
thinking
man.
everybody's trying to get me or everybody's an enemy that's not my friend. I just don't believe that anymore. I kind of tend to be. I used to be a cat person, and I mean by a cat person like you kind of take a while to get close to somebody and you want to see what they're doing and seeing if they're sly and you're always on guard. Now I'm a golden retriever, bro, that just goes up and says, "Hey man, pet me, I love you, let's do this." And then if I got a reason to back off or run away or even fight, then I do it. But until then, I'm gonna leave it up to chance and see what's really going on the right way rather than to go in with all these predisposed notions that I'm against the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hell yeah, man. And see,
Man,
that's the wise shit that we like to talk about because that's the stuff that's important. Because I try to talk like that to my children right now, and I have
You
talked to
have
them
to.
about this since they were like old enough to start understanding. And it was like, all right, listen, we can have daddy talk and like we can play, but like there's times I'm going to sit you down and I really need your attention, and I'm going to start saying this to you over and over and over and over until it is your DNA and you do
Yeah.
believe it. And it's like, I need you to know that this is something that I have bared my soul, the things that I have thought that I would never tell anybody, right? And I've bared my soul to my kids and be
Good.
like, this is what's up. This is where I fucked up. This is what made me feel this type of way. This was the most difficult shit for me, and I don't want it to be difficult for you. And now that I'm, all these years older and have wisdom and maturity and have thought about it all these years, this is really the error in the logic of thinking that's what and start giving them game And what's beautiful is to see them start to apply it, and where
Yeah.
it's applied where it's natural, and it's not like because dad's watching it, it's just who they are.
Yeah, but the wisdom in what you did is the fact that, like, you ever heard the phrase that if we don't learn about our history, we're doomed to repeat it. Well, if your kids
Absolutely.
don't know about your mistakes and the things that you've gone through, I mean, they're your blood. They have your DNA in their body. So they are
Yeah.
prone. A lot of times sons will commit the sins of the father. And if you don't let the kids know, hey, this is what I did, this is where I slipped up, this is where I messed up, or even if you messed up with them, got too mad once or something, you say, hey, I'm sorry. That's not who I want to be. And this is why maybe I'm like this. And please know that you come from me. So I'm trying to share what I've gone through and my mistakes and my triumphs so that hopefully you don't do the mistakes, and hopefully the triumphs that you learn on from me become bigger ones for you. And if you
Yeah.
don't give that to your kids, you're more of a coward than a father.
That too. I mean, for real, because I mean, if you
Yes,
can't
sir.
be honest with your with your children and with your spouse, you know what I mean, and even more so, I would say your children more so than your spouse, because and your spouse gets everything. Like that's the way that I view. I'm all in with that. We're 19 years and counting,
Yeah, but you
and
have to
it's
remember before that 19, she had a father and a mother too that were going to
yeah,
set her the right way. So the thing is you as a father, you have a special responsibility to your children because you live life with your wife. You created those lives with your wife, and you both have to sort of teach them. But if you try to like do it to each other, it's a little bit different. So your kids are way more dependent on you to learn the basic things, the facts, the mistakes, the direction in which you should go. So I definitely think your wisdom is correct in the thinking that you're going through on that.
Well, part of it is that I tell them that there's some things that they can't watch that I do until they get a little bit older, and then there's things that they can't watch now, but
Sometimes you got to
they
say,
get
do as I say,
it's a
not as I do.
yeah, but it's a document. Like I wanted them to see, because this has whole been this journey's been a mental health journey, and I've been open about like my mental health journey and the things that I have been doing and facing, and
Makes you
to
stronger
to
than
be
ever,
a
bro.
be a better person, right? And that's through a lot of talk therapy. That's through a lot of radical treatments and stuff like that. And I'm all in, because if I can't fix myself, how in the fuck can I even think about helping my children or my wife do anything?
Well, man, and if you're like this big, huge,
Nah,
buff dude, right? You're walking around,
yeah.
you're all big and doing your thing. Everybody
I
knows you're
used to be
strong.
like that.
Well,
I used
everybody
to be
knows
like
you're strong. But when you're at your weakest point and you can still exhibit strength, then that is true inner strength, bro. When you ain't got the muscles, that's inner fortitude. That's in your heart. That's in your DNA. It comes from something that either you got or you don't got or you haven't learned yet. And when you can fall, be at the point where you feel like you're going to fall in the pit and just be done and say, hey, put the dirt over me, and you make it past that,
yeah,
that's inner strength. And if you don't share that, if you don't share certain things, you're doing a disservice to everyone around you.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of like that whole sharing your testimony, but it's like it's so because other people do get strength and get wisdom from it. I mean, and that's my thing is like if there's things that I've learned and I've gone through and I haven't shared it, then why in the hell did I just go through it? Like
Yeah, it's like a
that's
dead
what's
thing.
yeah, it's like nah,
It's
somebody's gonna learn from this.
yeah,
Like
that's
I
important.
don't one person just don't do that shit.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's selfish, bro. You're telling
absolutely.
if you messed up so bad and you had such a bad thing to go through to come back from that mess up, and you don't share it with your kids or somebody else that you can say, hey, I did that once. I screwed up my life for a number of years from that. And you don't give that knowledge out, you're hating on them hardcore because you're
Yeah.
telling them in not so many words that, hey, I don't give a shit if you repeat what happened to me. That was one of the worst things I ever went through. You have to let them know your weakness, but you also have to let them see how strong you are in sharing your weakness. Because that's
Right.
that. I know it sounds kind of like, maybe double talk or something, but it's really not. I think when you're at your weakest point and you're still able to stand strong and help other people, it's like these video you see where a guy's going around and he says, "Hey, can I get $1? I'm hungry." And you got all these people that got something for sure. They got $1 and they ain't giving up nothing. Then you go to some other dude. They go to a dude that's begging in the middle of the street, ain't got a dime to his name on his own will, and then he just got $1 from somebody from a car window, and you ask him, and he says, "Here you go, bro." That's real strength, bro. That's real honest feeling and emotion. That's why people, when they see these videos, the next day you'll see the same guy or a week later saying, "Hey, all of our followers saw this and raised 20 grand for you." That's realness, bro. That don't just
Yeah.
happen out of nowhere. You know, I mean, you got to make it happen, and you got to be strong enough to allow it, you know?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, should we get on to another subject so we don't make all our people want to
Ah,
So
go
yo,
take
I
a
mean, cause
Prozac
you,
or something?
well,
You know what I
listen,
mean?
here's what. Go
what
ahead,
we gonna
go
do?
ahead.
The new jump
Yeah,
off?
so I'm working on trying to get that sent over from my phone
Okay.
over to the thing.
I got a question
Okay.
for Ives. Uh well it's more one of my favorite Delinquent Habit songs is Western Ways.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that
That's a
fucking
dope ass
with the
song.
Sade fucking sample.
Yeah.
And, and then you got what is it, part two or the remix with Big Pun,
With
right?
Big Pun, yeah.
Any story you could tell us about when you guys did that or
Yeah, I
how
got a
that
few
came
cool
about?
stories about that. We actually went to New York to record the Western Ways Part 2. And Juju from the Beat Nuts is also on
Hell
it.
yeah.
And
Yes,
he did
sir.
the beat. And yeah, we went out there and we were recording in New York. It was a feeling like, it was sort of a feeling like, hey, you're in New York recording with the Beat Nuts and Big Pun. You made it. You know what I mean? And it was a real good feeling for me in a hip hop sense.
I
The
feel you.
song itself, I never got to get in the studio with Big Pun. Rest in peace. He had mad skills, but from what I heard, because of his weight, he could only do like one line, then punch in, one line, then punch in, and it took forever. So I think he was a bit self-conscious of that, and he did his thing on his own, but he came out super dope on that. To me, my favorite verse on the whole thing is from Juju,
Hell yeah.
from the Beat Nuts. I'm happy with my offering. I thought Chemo was dope. I thought the whole song in itself
It
was
is.
something that would been landmark. Unfortunately, Pun died soon after. A lot of things went on, um, but the song still, man, it's still actually getting noticed finally. Like people, hey, wow, I never knew you did that song. Oh, that's great. Check it out now.
Hell yeah.
As far as the first one, bro, I was a big Sade fan because there was this girl, man. Oh man, I was in love with this girl. And all she wanted to do was listen to Sade all day. So we went to the concerts, and you know how that is, dog. You kind of play the simp a little bit, and I ended up being a big Sade fan. I read about her and had respect for her walk, and I always wanted to use it. Matter of fact, we almost weren't able to use it. She actually said no
Oh
to the
shit.
sample, but her publishing company was like, "Oh, these guys did something pretty good on their first album. There's a great chance that this could make the publishing company some money." So some record executive said, "Sure, you can use it." So we,
Dang.
respect to
They
Sade.
they overrode her.
Yeah, because they
Essentially.
have the rights. So they're like, "Oh, we're making money here. We're
Okay.
trying to make some money, so we'll let this out." So
Gotcha.
big props to whatever Weasel record company executive that was that happened to work out for the positive side.
Yeah.
And also
But
respect to Sade, you know what I mean? To
for
do the
real.
music she did for so many years and look so good at her age, you got to give her some love.
Oh man.
Both songs is my joints, and much respect to both of them
Hey,
fucking
thank you,
tracks.
brother. I appreciate that. I'm
Hell yeah.
glad that you recognize some of the songs that weren't the ones that were all bumping on the radio all the time. Some of those ones are the like the hidden gems underneath the dirt. You know what I mean?
Hey
Hell
man,
yeah.
Juvenile, man. Cause you took the beat and that one was the same beat that was off of a Ghetto Boys album with the Bring
Yeah.
It On, the Posse album, and you fucking just ripped over. I was like, God damn, this is
Back in the
fucking
day, bro,
fire.
when we were making
Bring it
beats,
on.
like
Because I would
nowadays
mix
there's
those two together. I would mix those
yeah,
two together. I just like pop them like
dope.
bap bap and just keep going, and it'd be like fucking 10, 10 minutes of just
Well, you're a
going.
DJ, bro. You remember back in the day how hard it was to find. I mean, if there was a break record, beat records, we're up there. You know,
Yeah.
we I remember we had three two-track recorders, and we pieced them all together, and we would run our verses. We'd do it all the way through, no mess ups. Then we'd bounce it to another and do a two-track recording onto the next and the next. And by the end, we had like 12 tracks that sounded like dog shit. But we were so proud of it, and that's the only way we can get our demos done. And
Yeah.
once we were finished, like the Back to the Ghetto Boys and us having the same sort of beat, a lot of times, bro, people were using the same stuff because we're digging in the same crates. We're looking for the
Yeah.
same records, and there wasn't, producers out there like Scott Storch working with hip hop artists and playing these dope ass piano tracks. And back then it was like,
It
if
was
you got
samples, but that's all
exactly
it was.
all samples. So, it tended to be sort of overriding on others, but the creativity showed through because you could have the same beat and have two totally different vibes and two totally different effects on a song.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that I just I, that's the shit I always love, just being able to listen to hear. And that was the one thing. What was it? Because when I was listening to everything over this whole past period where I just locked in, what was it? Because your beat selections, right, man, the you guys have a very high bar of your beat selections. I
Well, to
don't
give
think.
to give credit on the first, four albums, OG Style, who he was a great friend. We had some inner beefs in the band, and unfortunately, he left the band. I got no hard feeling towards him or nothing like that, but back to the positive part, this dude is probably one of the most raw, best beat makers I've ever seen. He just knew where to put the drum rolls. He knew how to add many, many things in the sauce without making it taste sour, if that makes sense. You'll hear
It
some
makes
songs
total
where there's
sense.
just too much in it. But with him, you could have said, hey, here's 100 different things. You got to use them all in the song and make it sound right. And he had a definite huge talent for that. Nothing was ever boring. There was no filler spots. Everything had something to go somewhere. And yeah, I got to give props to him for that. He was really, really on point in doing that. As now, the newer beats, um, I think they're the tightest they've ever been. We have two Swiss cats, one named DJ Invincible, who tours with us all the time, and he's also a producer. And then we got this guy that I call, like, if there's a mad scientist or a musical genius in anything, it's him. His name's Ruck P, and they're both from Switzerland. Ruck P, man, this is the kind of guy that picked up the jazz guitar, and in 10 months he had a master's degree certified in it. He's one of those just prodigy music dudes, and he's very serious. He studies the mental effect of music. He studies which keys are the most, kind to the human ear, meaning, which ones people
Yeah.
want to hear. The dude is just an all around scientist when it comes to doing this stuff. So for me, bro, I take no credit for anything that's done musically except for the fact that I know how to rhyme, make great choruses, and I could use the beat to my advantage by letting the beat dictate where my lyrics will go rather than trying to make lyrics and then have somebody mold a beat to something there. Because the thing is this, bro. You got usually 4 to 8, sometimes even 12 bars at the beginning of a song. And right when it comes on, I know you on the left, I know you on the right, and probably a lot of people out there in in the world in general. You hear that beat, you're either like this or you're like this. Nah, it's
Hmm.
quick. And these guys that we've always had the luck of
The
having
psychology
somebody,
behind it is it's less than 5 seconds, normally less than 3 seconds,
you
and
got it.
depending upon it, it's actually 1.5 seconds. And because I did a whole psychology course on just that in itself. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
it's
100%
crazy.
correct on that. So for me, bro, I just I like to call it staying in my lane. My specialty is this, like, if I know how to, if I'm a dermatologist, I'm not going to go do heart surgery. You know what I mean? So I just I just feel
Yeah,
like, you know,
please don't.
yeah, like if you're a rapper and you got great lyrics and rhyming skills, you go ahead and use your words because that is your instrument. Your voice is your instrument. Learn how to use your vocal cords. Learn how to know how to stay on key. You know, learn to know when you should have sort of a half rhyme, half singing. Learn when you bring in reggae words, when you bring in Spanish, whatever your tools happen to be, you use them. But if you try to control too much of the cooking, so to speak, it's never good to have too many chefs on one spaghetti sauce, or you're going to end up with too much of garlic or too much oregano. It's the same as if you have two or three guys saying what's what, it just jumbles up the whole thing, you know?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
What
sir.
about some
So,
questions? You guys ever wonder about any, like, I don't know, you guys got any controversial questions? I'm feeling
well,
risky.
so I mean, controversial questions. Well, what I want to do is because we are exactly at the 1 hour mark, I want to say thank you to everyone that's tuned in live with us.
Word
That's
up.
tuned in live with us. Thank you so much for being here, and please do put your questions in the chat. We are going to make sure that we get to as much as we can, and then also just remember we're here for you every single Wednesday at the same time, 9 p.m.
Hey,
Eastern. Yes,
also,
sir.
on a side note, bro, anybody that suffers from any kind of depression or you need somebody to talk to, bro, I got a lot of time off sometimes. So, you could add Ives Irie on either Facebook or Instagram, and I will definitely have time to try to help out if I can a little bit here and there. Um,
There you go, man.
that's
Follow
very
ups.
important to know that everybody suffers from the same conditions. No one's life is perfect. And, you know, I have this line on the new record where it says, "We cover sadness with our riches on our Instagram pictures." So it's like that's what a lot of people are stuck doing these days, and they think if they put this perfect portrayal of life on Instagram, that they're going to be the one who's successful, or they think if they don't do it, that people are going to think they're less than something they'd want to be around. For me,
Yeah,
I like to look at the stories where people are portraying their flaws and their real stories, and letting people know that they're not out there alone suffering in this world when, you know, more people suffer than don't. And usually the ones that
yeah,
aren't suffering are the ones that are causing the suffrage.
yes,
So that's it for that.
absolutely. So check this out, man. I want to say thank you so much, Gorilla Strong, for those 100 biddies. I do want to give an opportunity. You got some exclusive music that you're gonna bless us with, right?
Yeah, we got a
And
new album coming out, and I used to be this kind of guy, keep it all under wraps and stuff, but I got to talking to you, bro, and I really respect what you're doing. I don't want to
thank
get
you,
too
man.
personal into it, but the story that you told me, and while you're here, and 6 hours ago, you're sitting in a hospital bed facing some real stuff, man. I got to say that that's probably one of the bravest stories I ever heard, and true dedication. And you got my respect from the deepest part of my heart. That's why I said, I'm going to send something out there. Hopefully you like it. This song was inspired by Sick Jackin from Psycho Realm. The
Hell
beat
yeah.
was made. The beat was made by Ruck P and DJ Invincible, and it's all played. There's no samples. Every instrument you hear was done by one of those two guys. All the arranging, all the lyrics done by me. So, hope you like it.
What's the
It's
name
called
of
Me
it?
and the Boys.
Me and the Boys. Here you go. It's exclusive, y'all.
Def- See, I told you heads bob right away.
I used to be the one with hustle, trouble on the block today. Never want to turn my cheek and make the choice to walk away. Rather strap myself up, catch a fade, hit the block and play. Impose my malice to the saddest, wouldn't go away. The more I try to mask my pain, the more I seem to go astray. No longer my own life, I'm checking in tonight, a protege. I'm more dead Dios, me corazón, went from an empty heart to one that take on evil, even if it tears a place apart. Stand on only solid brothers, true to what they represent. Second chance so we can redo all the parts we didn't get. Truth is on the cross and it's a sacrifice we can't forget. Get on your knees, repent, and it's an action that you won't regret. Sharing knowledge, arming up, that's what I told my sons. The words that's in the book is way more powerful than any gun. Created and controlled the rise and setting of the burning sun. Don't try to fight it, hey yo daddy, let his will be done. Now everybody clap your hands, raise your voice. Let's take a stand, we can there's no choice. I'm speaking words, it's more than just noise. Getting turned up, keeping the faith, me and the boys. Now everybody clap your hands, raise your voice. Let's take a stand, we can, there's no choice. I'm speaking words, it's more than just noise. Getting turned up, keeping the faith, me and the boys. It's evident that when I hit the block, the brethren like my sound. Keep to the truth, cause every lie, the Lord will strike it down. I'm feeling good words, and I hope to thee its grace abound. Penetrate your heart, provide a spark for your salvation drown. Dying to oneself, we never stop, rewind and watch it play. Behind my smile, I threw my tears, and at the end of the day, I'ma sing my song for sure. For the sick ones that's lost and think there ain't no cure. For the people on the brink, I think of shutting it down. For those that's in the web of the cycle of right now. Maybe club lights, maybe street fights with your head tight. Tell me how we gon' fight our demons if we ain't right. For those that's in the grips and addicted, feeling forlorn. Chin on their chest, hurt and afflicted, hearts war torn. Dripping from cuts, covered in stitches. Cover sadness with our riches on our Instagram pictures. Keep it going for Moses, for keep it going sake. Ain't knowing how to act, cause 80% is 100 fake. To save confusion, keep it blind to life's illusion. Put my hands up to the Lord, cause everything I touch I ruin. Now everybody clap your hands, raise your voice. Let's take a stand, we can, there's no choice. I'm speaking words, it's more than just noise. Getting turned up, keeping the faith, me and the boys. Now everybody clap your hands, raise your voice. Let's take a stand, we can, there's no choice. I'm speaking words, it's more than just noise. Getting turned up, keeping the faith, me and the boys.
Man.
Little
there you
something,
go,
something.
y'all.
Fire.
Woo.
Like
Positive.
that?
I like that it's
Hey.
positive, man. That's some good music
Send,
for the kids
send that
and
send
everything.
that shit in for they can use it for the boys too.
Yeah, right. I mean, for me,
Hell
dog,
yeah.
I, you know, that's one of the more positive tunes. There's other songs on there where I'm, you know, reflecting and feeling certain things, and there's a couple party tunes. But you know, life is different for me now. The music is different for me now. We have to progress along with our music, you know.
Dope track, bro. Dope
Thank
ass
you,
track.
brother. I just dig the whole vibe when it comes on. You just feel that breeze come in, and you just like let's
Yeah.
vibe, you know.
Hell
So
yeah, man.
I used to
I
own a drug rehab in California, and I saw a lot of people suffering, and you know, like there's a part in there where I talk about the people hurt and afflicted, feeling worn, torn. You know, like talking about these people that would talk to me and they would tell me how they feel like nothing, and they're hurting and they feel like they're in a war. And I took it in, and then one day I just felt like I think that's where that needs to be. The writing has to be real, you know.
Is that how you stay inspired and grounded after all these years in the game? Like, is that like
You know what, bro?
what are
I'm
you
so
doing
out of the
different
game.
from?
Like I'm so out of the game. Like I don't play the whole thing. Like when I show up, I'm just honest with people. I don't whoop it up loud. I don't whoop it up hard. I just give a hug and say, "Hey, what's up? How you been? How you feeling?" But for real, you know, not like, "Hey, remember this? Remember that? Remember this?" Making everybody feel like, you know, past glories or past stories is who we still are. There's
Yeah,
past funniness. There's past hurt, but who we are now when we meet up is like, yo, how you doing, brother? I know how hard life is. How you feeling? You like this music? Oh yeah, that's what gets me by too. Because you know, I still struggle, dog. And when I know I'm gonna hit the stage, I know that that's a time where I'm gonna find cleansing and closure. And I'm gonna look in people's eyes, and by the way they feel from what I say, I'm gonna feel a lot of things. And this is something for me that's somewhat like stage therapy. And it's a really lucky thing that I have that. I tell people, thank you for helping me give my sons a better life than me. Thank you that I'm the only one in my family with bullet holes and knife wounds, and my kids grew up, got to both do their thing, you know. And you know, one graduated magna cum laude from Cal State LA in international business marketing, and my other son is
congrats,
working to be a pastor and a philosopher. So for me, it's just like,
congrats.
you know, everything I really wanted to achieve had to do with my sons, and the legacy that I left is their success, and the fact that they didn't fail at an early point in life because I didn't teach them the right things.
Mm,
Like you said, you know, you open up those deep dark secrets to your kids because you want them not to repeat the sins of the father, brother. And
uh-huh.
that's where I feel so blessed by this, and I tell people every single night, new cities, new countries, wherever I'm at. Thank you for supporting me for 20 something years. Thank you for buying the records, the T-shirts, doing the streams. Any way that money came in, it was well used and appreciated and given for the betterment of my children. The same way that I hope my music gave for the betterment of the people who's listening's parents, as their children were the ones hearing. You know what I mean?
Big
Hell
salute to
yeah.
that, man. Salute to that. You know,
Sorry, I'm not like yo money. You know, money. I just smoke bud all day and shoot guns
no,
and
no,
I
this is, I'd
steal
rather
cars
have
and
this.
I
This
kill
is
candy
great.
and I
No.
take candy from babies and I eat it in front of them and you know it's just I don't know, man. It just ain't me no more. You know, it's just the way I am now. Is I thank God and I thank my fans and I thank people like you because the truth is, vatos like you give up your own time, you know, and you're not making millions of dollars on this. It's not like you're pulled in there because you have to keep a huge paycheck coming. You're
We're
doing it
paying
because you
money
love
to
hip
do
hop and
this.
the culture.
We're paying money to do this, fam. We ain't making money to do
Well,
this
I got
shit. We
20 bucks
paying
on it,
money.
bro.
No, you doing this is
Facts.
enough, man. Like, nah, man. But you know, I mean, it's just it I just love having this type of opportunity to have this type of dialogue and discourse. I mean, there's so much that we can talk about
Well,
in
I
your
saw you
music
have my brother
career.
Sandubi on here, you know,
Hell
Man,
and
yeah.
and he is such a good guy, man. And like
yeah, he's
that's
a
the
nice
thing that
dude.
I
He's
told.
funny and he's not all that you know, and you know, Dookie dropping. He's not all this like he's got more to him than what you hear on records and stuff too. He's a special individual as well.
Nah,
Yes,
he's a
sir.
very thoughtful and kind
A
individual
couple
and
times I wanted to
mindful
smack him
individual.
up when we were younger because he was a little bit crazy out there, you know. His old lady knew my old lady at the time, and I was always hearing stuff. So every once in a while, I get mad at him, but it's all love with son, man. He's a good dude, and I'm really happy that he's still in the game and persevering and doing what he does. You know, respect to him.
Respect
Hell yeah.
the entire Cypress Hill family tree, the Soul Assassin
Yeah,
family tree, man.
all
Y'all
of
are
them, dog.
thriving. But the thing is that again, and I told him, I'll tell you, I tell C, anybody that I ever meet, like every single one of those cats, even had a chance to meet Bobo. It's like
Bobo's a
they're
good vato. I
humble.
like Bobo a
He's
lot.
just great,
Very
great,
talented man.
humble people. Just good people, and they're down to earth and like
A lot of people
they're
don't know the
real.
legend that guy is. You know,
Oh my
his
God.
father is legendary, bro. Willie
His
Bobo, Eric
father,
Bobo, the kid.
oh my God.
You know, he just did what he's supposed to, dog, and he's out there bumping it and steady grinding. And you know, you got to give him nothing but love.
Oh yeah.
The icon.
You know, and
The
a lot
iconic
of people
one.
have helped me in my career, and he's one of them. You know, recently too, tour with Reverie. I don't know if you've heard of Reverie before,
Yes,
Yes,
but
yes, yes,
she's
sir.
got
yes.
she's probably one of the most talented female rhymers there is, and she's
We're
also got
trying
a
to
lot
get
of
her on
good.
the show.
Oh yeah, I'll hit her up for you guys. And
Let's
a
go.
lot of things, bro. Like you know, she came out with us and toured, promoted her stuff, helped us in the time of need, and we performed together like we've been performing for 20 years. And then Jackin came out now, and Jackin's a really tight fit. And you know, we roll as the Delinquent Habits Experience, Delinquent Habits, Psycho Realm, the Psycho Habits. We just, you know, we're doing our thing now, bro, and it's
How
just
did you guys
all
link up? Can I ask that question? Like, how did you
well.
guys say, like, all right, let's do this? Because, man, when I saw that you guys were together, I was like, ah,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Well, you
that
know,
is like,
my
ooh,
brother
peanut butter
Chemo,
and jelly.
respect to Chemo the Blackskin. You know, he's my brother, and after touring a while, we had a little bit of a conflict. We had an argument one day, had a few things lead to another, and um, both sides, I think, had enough fault at it for sure. As a man, I could admit my faults, and as a man, I know he can too. Um, we recently patched things up, but we figured it's better for us to do what we're doing and him to do what he's doing. And
Yeah.
Jackin's been my brother for 25 plus years. You know, B Real brought them out, Sam brought us out. So, both being the children of Cypress Hill, we kind of both ended up naturally, you know, vibing. You
Yeah.
know, Duke, big shout out to Duke. You know, he got shot after
Yep,
one of
yep.
our shows. And
Mm.
me and Jackin have been pretty tight ever since. We had a while where we lost touch, and then we came back into touch maybe about 8 years ago, and in a real tight way. And he started producing music for me. And then I was like, hey dog, would you like to come out and tour with us? Get your stuff out there in Europe deeper, and let's just show people what we got going on. And he did. And me and him, the first show he had to do was in front of 30,000 people at a festival where we were going sort of a versus style with Macklemore. And
Wow.
he went on one stage, and then by the time we were done, everybody that was at his stage was in front of our stage.
Hell
So
yeah.
the newspapers were like, these dudes look like they've been doing it for 20 years. They don't know the story because nobody did, and they had no idea it was like only our third show together.
Wow.
So it was just a natural fit. Jackin's an ultimate professional, one of the best MCs I know, has a great mind for
He is.
songwriting. And beyond that, he's my brother, and I love him like family. When we see each other, we don't shake, we hug. How you doing, brother? When we hang up on the phone, and I love you, brother. I love you too, brother. That's the way a man should be to a man, because there shouldn't be all these societal things where men can't tell each other that they got love for each other. Men can't
Hell yeah.
hug. Men can't do this. That's all foul. Anybody that got some problem and seeing me hug my brothers can come up and talk to me about it. And maybe at the end they'll be hugging me, or else maybe something else gets them, something rings their bell or something. You know what I mean?
You call it a struggle snuggle.
Exactly, right.
People get that
Struggle,
bear hug
struggle.
like, well,
Yeah, I like that for sure. Yeah, so it's for us, bro. It's like even a place like a podcast like this, if that's what I'm calling. I guess it's more of a stream, but
no, this is a
you know,
podcast, man. This is
okay,
a
good.
podcast.
It's special
This
for
is
me
episode number
because
75.
hey, dope dog. It's special for me because this is probably like only the first or second time I've done it. And
Well, we're
I like the
blessed.
fact that
Thank you.
you didn't come out with the same questions. When did you come out? How'd you come out? What was your influence? Blah 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 blah. You actually did something to where I can show what I've learned over all this time, instead of trying to go back and just let people know about my biography or what I've done. You guys actually brought up some real stuff that we can actually try to help people with, because in the end, music is therapy. How many times have you gone
Yes,
through something
sir.
that you ain't have music playing in the background? You
Man,
know?
I all of my life is So, have you ever seen the movie High Fidelity with John Cusack?
Yes, I have.
It's so how he has his record collection
Collection,
organized by
yeah.
memory. So like I DJ'd with these records. I have them organized. There's every single memory that I have in this jumbled mess up here. There's a song associated. That's kind of like the reason why the very first question that I ask is the question of the song. It's like I want to know your first memory associated with hip hop, or
That's dope.
even your first memory associated with music, because that memory in itself and that song, those are gonna always be with you. And that
Yeah.
is what that is. And like you have songs that are associated with memories. And that's the way it is. And there's albums and the whole things. It's like think about how many times a song comes on and you just think and you catch yourself thinking like, oh shit, I totally was just thinking, way
Hell
back.
yeah. Hey, dog,
So
I've
it's
had
it's
songs come on. I've had
uh,
songs come on before where I remember, and I smell the smell of a perfume a girl was wearing I was hanging out with, or I remember the vibe of the club I was in, or I remember one time, bro, when our record first came out, bro, we were homeless, me and my pop, and I remember waking up because we were sleeping on the street, and I remember hearing my music playing in a Camaro, and it woke me up. And then after
wow.
the record was on the radio, then the label's like, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and get you a place and help you out."
Mm.
So there's so many things that when they happen to you, you're like, "Man, this is the worst time of my life." But then when you look back to them, you say, "Hey, that was one of the forming things that made me who I am today." And music is the number one thing that'll bring you back and forth from something like that.
Yes, sir.
I got a
Absolutely.
question for Madways. Hey, do the drapes
Yes,
match
sir.
the carpet, bro?
Do I got blue balls?
He gets asked that all the time.
It's actually, I don't get asked that all the time, but it's an ongoing joke on our other podcast, The Usual
I
Suspect.
figured, dog.
I be
Had to
telling
lighten it up a little
motherfuckers
bit,
like,
bro.
yeah, I be telling them like, yeah, my motherfucking balls is motherfucking blue.
At least on nights your lady's tired, right? I love that, bro. You guys are great. I hope you have me
Oh
again
shit.
sometime, dog.
Oh man, you are welcome anytime. Can I ask? We've got some questions from the audience, and
Let's do it.
we got some ones from Midget Mike. He's got a question. That said, how was it working with Sin Dog producing your first album?
One thing I liked about Sandog, bro, is like he was more supportive of our life. Like, he was
Yeah.
giving us each money every week out of his own money to help us get to where we needed to be. We had multiple drop where labels, I mean, Kurt Cobain killed himself when we were on Geffen. So,
Wow.
to
Yeah.
where a lot of guys would have said, hey, you know what? It's taking too long, getting too expensive. He stuck it out and stayed with us. As far as the personal note, as far as like him producing, he was executive producer because he's the one who got us the deal. But as far as like the creative side, he pretty much stayed back because the makeup of our band, Chemo the Blaxican, Ives Irie, and DJ OG Style, we were basically the same look as Cypress, a white boy, a Mexican dude, tone like B-Rose, more tone like OG Style. So we sort of kind of fit the same sort of look. So he wanted us to definitely have our own style. And anything that sort of sounded Cypress-esque, if that's a word, he basically would kind of, hey, you don't want to sound like us. You don't want to do like us. You want to have your own identity. So I do appreciate him letting us do the creation and just kind of keeping us on a point to where we weren't a Cypress clone and just something that's another bubble in a boiling pan rather than having our own dish cooking.
Yeah. That's dope. That's that he was looking out for you and helping craft that
Yeah,
sound
he's
that
a
cut
he's a
through. That
good dude.
first album was crazy. God damn, that first album was insane. Like
Yeah,
all your
really
shit was.
great. And as we started to move along, we had a lot of turmoils with record labels. We were working with this one record label called Art 21, and the brother of the drummer from the Police owned that record.
Oh
Um,
shit, Stuart Copeland.
yeah, so it was Miles
I've
Copeland is
heard.
his brother.
I've not heard good things about him. I've heard that he's a
No,
difficult person.
Miles Copeland to me, bro. If
No, Stuart Copeland was a
I
drummer.
mean, I
I don't know
imagine they're
anything about
brothers, so
Miles.
they probably can't be too
Yeah.
far off the tree. Their dad was the CIA chief, and Miles Copeland, he liked to get us in big rooms and threatened to drop us. And anytime we kind of asked for something that we were promised contractually, he was the kind of guy that, always wanted to play. And at that time, I wasn't really the guy that was ready to play. I was the guy that's ready to come over the table and duct tape you up and put you in a trunk. So that was kind of a hard time for us, but in the end, bro, we broke free of all that stuff and then started doing it independently. And it's a big struggle. It was a big, tough struggle. And even to this day, bro, we still, we need shows. We need people to listen to them streams. We need things. It's not like if everything just stopped that we're going to go ahead and be this amazing, self-sustaining monetary giant. Everything we for a reason, and that's just to pay the bills and to rock the shows and to give people what we owe them. And that's just the best of our ability: music, a show, honesty, the talent that God gave us. We're supposed to use it and make people happy with it. Not just say, oh, a little bit tough, let's break out and leave these people that have been listening to our music and being loyal and blessing us with their t-shirt money and their CD money and just leaving them behind.
That's dope. Hell yeah, bro. Well, got question from another one. Midget Mike wants to know, uh, what group or rapper gets no airtime in your car?
In my car,
No airtime in your car. What rapper slash group, whatever, gets no airtime in your car?
Lefty Gunplay.
Lefty Gunplay, huh?
Yeah, because he's like to me, bro, like I've seen a few interviews with him. I feel sorry for him in a way because the whole industry's using him up. You can tell he's all doped out, but he also doesn't know the history of hip hop because they were asking him on, I think it was Vlad. He said, what's your, what are you? He's, oh, I'm the dopest Latino rapper out there. I'm the only platinum one. And you know, the guy asked him, what about Be Real? And he's, oh, yeah, Be Real gets his props. And another guy had to tell him he was from Cypress Hill. And, a lot of us have sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of records. And, streams ain't the same as selling physical copies. A lot of people can go ahead and stream and you get your dough from it and you get paid these days. There you go, Black Sunday. So the thing is
the
not a lot of
original
people.
promo album.
Yeah, not a lot of people, bro, understand that, streams are a lot easier to get than somebody physically taking 10 or $15 and going out and purchasing your record. So I appreciate that it's a lot easier to get paid these days, but it's also a lot easier to get famous without the same sort of effort or respect, So
Word.
Amen to that.
I think that's other people that would never get a spin in my car. I would say this, bro. I'm pretty much not that close-minded. I don't like any of the rap that sounds like you got a mouthful of marbles and you're rapping and you can't understand what they're saying, the mumble rap stuff. I just think that's a product of the industry, and I believe that a lot of the stuff that's come out over the past, decade or so has been meant to more take away from hip hop and sort of make it an ambiguous sort of music to where anything, any clown, any girl like this, what's this other Bad Baby or whatever her name is. I've seen her on there. She's booty as fuck, but because she shows her ass and she looks good and she's talking about her little thing, everybody's like, oh, let's listen to her and let's fantasize over this. But me personally, I fantasize on untouched beautiful women, not ones that have been touched by every single one and they admit it on their records. You know what I mean?
Word.
That's probably real politically incorrect, but hey.
No, he's telling you the truth. I mean,
It's
not. There's nothing disrespectful about it. There was nothing politically incorrect about it. I don't think that.
Awesome, cool, bro. I don't want to get you guys in trouble.
Listen, you,
We're good.
You can't get us in trouble like you.
But as far as that's a good question too from Midget Mike. I appreciate that. I'm not really the guy that wants to go ahead and disrespect people too much, but there's some that's just so clowned out that, especially when you've been doing something and loving it for so many years, that when you see people come in and put bullets in the heart of hip hop, you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is though, here's the argument to it, is that hip hop is now 50 plus years old, and we've had guests on where, hip hop is still considered just one genre, right? When there is rock hip hop, there is like emo hip hop, there is all alternative, they're all whatever it is, right? It their own lanes. There's
and I've loved
all
some
of
in
these
each
different genres of hip hop, right?
Of course.
And that's the thing that should be in record stores and categorized, and it shouldn't be like everybody lumped in competing against one another. There should be adult contemporary
But
hip hop.
there is one
up
form of
against.
hip hop, bro, that is definitely alienated out, and that's when people say Latin hip hop.
True.
And the reason why they do that, bro, is because not to give you your props in a different identity, saying, hey, these guys are good enough to get their own form. It's not. It's so that people know the code word that these guys don't really belong. And that's the way they've always made us feel. And, I could tell you stories and shit, but, I don't really want to crank up any beef or anything like that. But what I will say is it's definitely real. Everybody, talks about certain supremacy, but I believe every color has somebody in there that has a supremacy, to them. And there's things that we have suffered in. And I think that we've been held back a lot too, because we're not so easy to pigeonhole. If you got 100 rappers and they're all rhyming about shooting and gang life and whoop whoop this and gang gang that, and we're coming out talking about Sunday parties and family and and making music that's not just, it's boom bap, but it's not just boom bap. You got these mariachis, you got horns, you got instruments that are sophisticated on there.
Yep.
And the record labels do this do also because the A&Rs, bro, they don't want to have to think. Everybody wants to make as much money as they can with the least amount of work as possible. And if you got records that actually have to be worked, you actually have to find your niche, do your real marketing, find a place where it belongs and where people are going to listen to it. That creates a whole amount of work for people who just love to floss your money because you're the one that's going to have to pay it back as the artist. And they want to just come for the parties, the women, whatever dope you got there, whatever drink you got there. And then they want to go back to their home and then go back to the office the next day and say, where are we having our next $200 lunch on the artist? They don't want to have to really put in the work because that means you have to actually have, that would mean that you would actually have some sort of a report card on your work. And if everybody sounds the same, you have this pool you can throw it in. You're going to sell 1 million records if you sound like this. It's way easier for the A&R,
So what, with that being the thing, right? And the hurdle that, someone like yourself faces, as an established artist and even new artists coming into the game, like, what advice would you give to a young Latin artist trying to navigate like hip hop right now?
I would say this, let's say young Latin, young white boy, even young black artists, any artist that's coming out, as I've always said, show what your individual talent is. If you just want to be another of the same Lego or the same, brownie that's being made, you can make a little money at it, but you'll never have longevity. You may have a bunch of money at one time, but you'll be gone and your mark will be limited. In music, what you want to do to me is to come out, have people you can trust, set a goal, and don't be wishy-washy. If some guy comes in and says, hey, we'll give you a deal if you drop him, do this, do that, you're never going to really go far because people are going to know that they can just have you change up on a dime. You want to have somewhere where your integrity is at the beginning. We had people trying to make us drop our DJs, our producers, and we're like, yo, this is what we came up with, this is where we're at, and this is how we feel right. And when you build that brotherhood, the music becomes more than just music itself or a way to make money. It becomes something that you value as a whole with the people, and it's sort of an item that you want to protect and carry through until it can be heard. Otherwise, if you have a producer that's over here doing, like, say, gangster rap, but you're over here, you're doing club rap, and then some guy's like, hey, you got a really good voice, I can put you on this gangster record and you'll sell 1 million. What does that mean? Are you ever going to feel like you belong? Are you going to feel like you're real? Or are you going to be one of them guys that just does a mad cash grab as fast as you can and be gone as fast as you came? So to me, the biggest thing is to find it, make a goal, and stick with the people that got you where you're at,
Hmm. Amen to that.
Word.
Because in the end, you might not have success, but those people will probably still be in your life.
Well, I
And that's
mean, like,
valuable.
and that leads me to the question I wanted to ask. How did fame and early success, affect your personal life or relationships?
Well, for some reason, bro, for me, I had such low self-esteem coming in that when I saw all these crowds and these girls that were giving it up for the fakeness and all that, I felt like I was maybe a little more special than most. And that's where I kind of had a little bit of a time where I was fooling myself and I had a big wall to hit. And when I finally hit that wall and realized, hey, bro, just because you're, some sort of famous rapper that can be gone tomorrow, doesn't mean your girl won't cheat on you. Doesn't mean your homeboy won't steal your stash. Doesn't mean somebody won't break in your pad. You're still the same old person you were before. You just got a little more people pushing you to make some money. And nothing more, nothing less, bro. For me, the wholest I've ever felt is now. And that's because I realized that the last person that matters in all this is me. Everybody else that's listening, everyone that I take care of with the money I make, and everyone that's around me that makes money with me matters way more than I do. And I believe that's when you get your true blessings, you know?
To serve, to be able to serve.
Right. You
That's
surrender
what
and
it
you
is.
serve, bro. That's it. You stop serving yourself, you serve other people meals, they get fed, and you realize that what you're doing is more than just for yourself. There's something really, really wonderful about that, bro. I know it probably sounds a little bit like I'm, you know, tiptoeing through the tulips or something, but there's truth, bro. Good things bring you good feelings.
Yeah. No, you're right. You know what I mean?
Very
It's
seldom do you see a guy that's been 20 years in prison. Yeah, he's going to walk out and he's going to smile when he gets out. But right when he gets in that car, his frown's going to come back because he's been surrounded by nothing but negativity for 20 years in prison. And if you do the same thing and you're not in a prison and you're still surrounding yourself with negativity, you're going to exude negativity all the time. And how can you enjoy anything for yourself if you're messing up everything for everyone else with your negativity? You
well, I
know?
think negativity comes from trauma, hurt, it
Well,
that you
yeah, I
haven't
mean,
worked on yourself. It's insecurity,
hurt people,
right?
right?
Right. So that's the thing. Like, so the thing about that is that you've got if you ever want to get and find a place where you want to here's a mantra that I'm going through right now, and I have been that's been taking me part through this journey, is that I am trying very much to get to a place of gratitude and a place where I no longer endure the moment, but I can find a time to give myself the opportunity to enjoy the moment,
There you go.
right?
That's important, bro. Because you'll look back with nothing but regret in the end. You know, like let's say somebody's suffering with something. I don't want to give up anybody's business, but if you're suffering with something where you could actually see yourself not here no more, that time that you have left, why would you spend that whole time being bitter or saying, "Look, I'm enduring this without enjoying this"? You know, you
Yep,
have to, bro. Every
yep.
moment is a gift. You know, at the end of
It's a
last year, I got
present.
COVID with double pneumonia, and I thought I was going to die. And you know, thank the Lord that He brought me through it, and I'm feeling better than ever. But the thing is in that time, all I thought about was how many times I was ungrateful, how many moments that I should have enjoyed that I left behind because you can never relive those. And I was in
Mm.
such a negative way that there's no way that I could possibly bring anything positive from a situation that should have been nothing but positive. And that makes me mad at myself. It makes me have shame in myself because there's so many people. I used to see people, I go, how could that person that's so poor be laughing and smiling more than me? Well, that's because they chose to enjoy rather than endure.
Yeah.
That's a really profound statement you made, bro. Don't ever forget that. You need to share that. Put that shit on a t-shirt or something. Enjoy while you endure, or enjoyment over enduring, or whatever it happens to be.
Nah,
But
so
that's
yeah,
a
just
definitely profound idea and concept, you know?
no longer endure the moment, find enjoyment in the moment,
There you go, brother.
regardless if you have to
That's something
endure
to
it.
take home and put on your fridge, bro. Every day you see that when you're going to get your morning food,
Hey,
get your
look,
milk for your coffee.
trademark, put Ghost Boogie. You can put it on your take down those live, laugh, love posters in your house.
There you
Put
go,
Ghost
brother.
Boogie shit in your I'm
Yeah.
just playing, man.
You sell that, dude, that'll be like shit
Uh,
happens, man. That'll be a big old story. That'll be a big old, phrase, you know? No, but hey,
hey,
man, that's the kind of stuff really that when you're strong enough to share it, even if only a couple people hear it and take it to heart. You know, I've seen a couple comments and I can see that Midget Mike, I believe, is really into it and he's listening to what we're saying. And I know
midget,
Gorilla
this
Strong
is
is out there and there's a
this is
lot
our
of like-minded
community.
people learning from the things that other people
They're
go
so
through too.
strong. Yep. Our community is the reason why like we continue to do what we do because they tune in. They are the usual suspects just like we are. Like they're the
All
group
good.
that like, we've made a commitment to everybody, and it's dope. It's dope to have a community and then be able to have an opportunity to chop it up with up and coming underground artists and artists who absolutely positively we give an opportunity to share their flowers, give them the
Hey,
flowers,
thank you, bro.
and
I
and
like
and
flowers. I have a few tatted on me.
yeah, man. And then I wanted to ask you before we get up out of here, like, so what are some of the other things that you're doing? Because I noticed that you do tattoo work, right?
Yeah, I've been doing
So,
tattoos for about 2.5 decades. I had the blessing and the pleasure to learn from a lot of good artists, be around a lot of the culture, and now I can say that I'm really happy with the work I'm doing and putting out. And people give me the opportunity to subsidize what I can't make in music by doing art and tattoos. Um, I'm very big on helping people with addiction. I've known a lot of it in my family. I lost a nephew to suicide because of a relapse onto meth, and there's a lot of things about addiction that I really hate, and I want to fight it, and that's another opportunity I have thanks to a guy named Phil Aguilar. We call him the Chief. He started Set Free Ministries, which helps people who got out of prison and addicted and the ones that everybody else forgot about. He was the one that was loving them. His son Chill Aguilar, who's a great guy. He's going to be on the new record. He's a singer extraordinaire. Does some of the most beautiful vocals you'll ever see. So
dope.
there's a lot of things in my life I do. I'm an avid coin collector, so
Ah,
I'm involved in a golden coin store where we buy and sell coins, and we try to turn people on to new forms of
what
investing
is that
rather
called?
than
A numismatist? What
uh,
is it?
a numismatist. It's a numismatic
Numis.
coins, and that's
There you
like
go.
that's like getting the old coins and making them as good as you possibly can get them. And you teach people new ways rather than understanding, hey, if you can't get in the stock market for 20 grand, you can spend $100 a week on silver or gold, and you'll be probably better off than that same person in the stock market in 20 years if you stay with it. We're trying to teach people. There's an old book that I read when I was younger called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it was about what rich parents teach their kids that poor parents don't because they never knew about it. And I got fascinated with the fact that there is this sort of exclusive information to where, people used to say, well, money breeds money. Well, it's actually information, good
Yes.
information goes to the next level and it keeps traveling. And if you use it, you can have keys that give you a better chance of success. That success is very random. And it's also relative. So to me, I just try to do as many things as I can. I'm a gun collector. I like to shoot. I do all kind of stuff, bro. But mainly it's stuff that is more fortifying. I don't pop bottles. I don't look for the girl with the tightest clothes and the nipples showing. I'm sort of this. I've turned myself into. Actually, I can't take the credit, of course. I give all credit to God above for that. But I've become a better man, and I've learned a lot of things as my mind is open, and I've seen a lot of things in the people that I never would have thought were the quality people that I would want. I see the ones now that I used to ignore as the quality. The coin nerds, the people that want to go fishing with you and share stories, and you drink a beer with them or soda or whatever you're doing, and you catch that joy of getting a big fish on the boat, or you go hiking, and if you make it to the top, you're like, man, my old fat ass can still make it. Let's do this. So you know what I'm saying, dog?
Yeah.
You take the joy when it comes rather than trying to
Mhm.
create these false pictures of what joy should be. Joy is spontaneous, joy is serendipitous, and it's something that you never know when you're going to run across it, and you find it, and that's one of the best things in life.
And that's why you allow yourself to enjoy it instead of endure
There you go, bro. I'm telling you, you have no idea how profound that is.
it.
It's
Ketamine's a
almost
hell
as
of a drug,
profound
baby.
as Bluebeard and Blue Balls.
The carpet matches the drapes. Oh my god, that's hilarious, man.
I
All
can't
right,
let you
so
get over there just smiling, bro. You have a beautiful smile, but I want to hear something from you.
so look, man, like don't front, man. Like it would be dope because Mad Waves is a bilingual. I'm gonna speak for you. Mad Waves is a bilingual MC as well
Oh,
himself,
dope.
and he's got a ton of. He's always working with artists that are on the show, and like
Well, I can tell you this, bro, just because of the vibe I had here, that if you got a project you're doing and you want me on it, you got it on love, no charge. We'll do something together. We'll bust it
Let's
out and let
go.
people hear it. I'm all into, making more music with good people. I'm not the guy that can really be bought these days. I'd rather go with vibe and see what goes on from it. Get our streams on, everybody get paid and be happy the same. You know what I mean? Because
All
I
right,
don't
all
I don't
right.
I don't want to put young artists in debt in order to try to make their dreams come true. If you want to help somebody do the right thing, you do it in the right way.
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
man.
Thank you.
And we got two other co-hosts that couldn't be here tonight due to extenuating circumstances. Shout out to G Dash and the Missus. The Missus is sick, so salute to her and
Well, I hope she
prayers
gets
go to her.
better
Yep,
quick, and
and Big
much props to
Weez
G
couldn't
Dash as
be here.
well.
Yeah, and Big Weez could not. He's an MC as well, but
I'm sure if they're hanging out with
he
you guys, they're good people because you
again.
guys
Well,
Hopefully,
definitely have.
I actually got a beat from G Dash that might suit me and you pretty nice. So
Well, you know where
yeah,
I'm at, bro.
I just
Um,
need
uh,
I need that email and I'll send it over.
well, Ghost Boogie's got my cell,
I
so
got
just
your
get my
Yeah,
cell
number
from
I get
me.
before.
it. All
You
right.
give me a call up, bro, and I definitely would like to come on here again and you know promo it so that my people know it's coming
Yes.
on too. We get a lot of people on this live, and let's get it worldwide and get some stuff going on because
Do you
people
have
need
your
to hear more
calendar?
of what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Like
Anytime and anybody that you would be able to recommend to be on with us or help us out with,
I definitely
like
think y'all should
like
have Reverie on the
yeah,
show.
every yeah for
I'll call my brother Sick Jack in. I think you guys need to
so.
hear a
Check
lot of
this
what's
out.
going on.
The 23rd, Wednesday the 23rd is open. If you
I'm
want to
here.
come back, on
Done.
Wednesday the 23rd, that's 2 weeks from now.
Done.
We're promoting out. This episode is a promo for the
Yeah.
episode that's going to be part 2.
And in part
Come
two, what
back.
we'll do is we'll get into some tour stories, some controversy. I'll make a few people mad at
That
me,
part.
and we will definitely put some how they say it now. We'll definitely spill the tea, I guess they call it.
Ooh, the
But
viral stuff, right?
yeah, because I walk like a man wherever I go, and if I'm telling the truth, anybody that got a problem with that can come talk with me.
there it is.
Ooh, there it is, man. Hey, listen,
And hopefully he could come with another song so we could play for the people
Yeah,
or
I
something.
definitely will, brother. And
Yeah,
maybe I don't know if you guys do any freestyle on there. We could play some beats, do a
we can play.
freestyle, let people
We
see what's going
absolutely
on.
can. We can absolutely do that.
And
We'll
when I
play
come back
music
on, what I'll do
videos,
too,
all of it.
dog, is I'll bring a few coins. I'll bring a gold coin, a couple of silver coins, and
Ooh,
some stuff.
yeah.
And we'll go ahead and do a giveaway to the people that give you guys love. We'll pop them out, and they could win something. How about that?
there it is.
Wow, look at
That'll-
that. Tune in for that, y'all.
So the 23rd, then y'all. Hey man, I want you to know I got much love and respect for you guys. Thank you for bringing me on.
Yeah.
Both you guys will be in my prayers, especially you, Ghost Boogie. I want you to
Yes,
know that what you told me earlier is you're a man worthy of a lot of respect, and I truly look at you as a warrior in every way.
Hell
And I
yeah.
say to you, God bless you, and I say God bless you too, bro,
appreciate you.
because I know it ain't easy living with the blue bush.
It's very
Yo.
very
Especially in
easy.
Surgate, homie.
It's very easy.
So
Hey,
check
well,
this.
I'm gonna be out in California too, and you're in Denver. My brother's in Golden, so I'm driving out to
Oh,
I'm driving out to California in May. So I'll
okay.
definitely swing through Denver and come see you at the studio, and then
Holler
I'll
at
see you in
me.
Southgate, dog. You'll be only a
You
city away.
hey
Yeah.
you gotta pull up on Be Real TV, bro.
I'm in.
Let me know. I can make it happen too.
Let's do it, brother. The new album,
So
all
look,
right?
and look, if you got a spot, and I just might take a ride with you to
Hey,
California.
I'll be on my solo, dog, and I got a truck you can roll as long as you're ready to stop at a few fishing holes on the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
say less. I got some poles and everything, man. Like, oh, don't. All right, look, we have to work this out. Hey, man, like, and we're not even gonna give shout outs. We're gonna give shout outs to everybody because we want you to tune into part two. So, part two, episode two, is gonna
76.
be on the 23rd. The 23rd, Wednesday, the 23rd.
Yes, sir.
We
I'll
are
be here.
going to be back with Ives Irie from Delinquent Habits, and we're gonna get into some real other stuff, some real
Yeah.
stories and stuff like that. But everything has to be said this is way. Gorilla, thank you for setting
Yeah.
this
Gorilla
up.
Strong. Thank you, brother.
But more importantly, thank you, sir, for doing this on the humble and doing this on the last minute, doing this even with the way that I dropped the ball on
Hey,
promoting
nah, you're
this and
good,
all of
brother.
that.
You're good,
I
brother. I
love
didn't
you
know
for
the
this. I
circumstances, so
appreciate this. I
there's no ball
appreciate
dropping. You
you.
picked it up when it was going out of bounds, bro. You did real good.
So look, fam, I appreciate you for this opportunity. I thank everybody that's been tuned in here live. Miss you, G Dash. Miss you, Big Weeze. And we are out, man. Keep it positive, keep it pushing, keep persevering. What's in the past is behind you. You can't change it, right? You can't
Right.
predict the future. All you got is the present. So stay in the present because that's what it is. It's a present, it's a gift.
You got it.
Much love, y'all. We up
God
out of here.
bless.
Peace.
Peace
And
out.